The SC5000 from Denon DJ was a first for a lot of different reasons. It's the first time you have a complete operating system directly inside of a piece of gear. And what that really means is that you can have functionality like you would be used to from having a controller, but in a club player situation, in a completely standby situation. So really what that means is that we now have an elaborate strip down below here. So the way that this works is in hotkey, if I press shift, I can erase anything that's inside of there. I'm going to use my control up top just to sort of navigate where I want to go. So I'm going to start at the very start, and I can find whatever entry point I want, and I'll put a cue point. And that's going to play back from that position every time. Now, as the track plays ahead, I can add new cue points into there. So there's another cue point. Because I have this screen, I can see the drum is coming. So there we go. Now you'll notice that every cue point that I did was right on the one. It was perfectly in place. It's not from me having good timing, it's because I had quantize on, so it was waiting for that one point. You can see on the screen here, I have this quantize switch, so I can just touch that and turn my quantize on and off. If I have it off and I'm playing back, then I can add a cue point wherever I want to. So I just did 4. And of course, if I hold down shift, I can erase those 4 and wait for new points. Another thing to pay attention to with quantize is that if I have it turned on, then when I'm playing back, it's not going to engage that cue point until it's on the 1. So you can see I push it, and it takes a second to play it back. So the timing doesn't really matter as much. It's always going to be locked in for playback. However, it's going to be on the bar. So if I want to do some more interesting maneuvers, I turn off quantize up top, and now I can play it back from wherever I want to, and I can do more interesting rolls. That's how my hotkey section works, and I have 8 different spots here, and I can put in a different cue into each spot, and it will be remembered with the track. So when I eject the drive and I play it again, it will know that that's where those cue spots are. So I only have to do this once, and it's a really good way to prepare your tracks before going out to do a show. The next button over is my loop. So inside of loop, again, I can hold down shift and erase what I've done previously. I'm going to press the playback, and now when I push a loop button, I'm going to set the in point, and when I press it again, it's going to set the out point. And the quantize thing works the same as well. So I had quantize off. When I did that, I'm going to turn quantize on, shift, hit it to erase it. And so now when I do it again, it's going to be perfectly set up on that one, where the last one was a little bit off. So that's right on that bar there. And again, if I push it again, it will play through, or I can go shift and erase it. I have 8 different slots available where I can put in those loops. So again, this is something that I can do ahead of time, and I can prep my track before I take it to the club and have a bunch of different loop spots so that I can have a little bit more control over the playback later on. Really, to be a good DJ, you have to prep ahead of time. You have to know what's going to work, what's not going to work, and then make that your performance, make that your routine. The other thing that loop can do is if I press it a second time, I can change the size of that loop that I'm on. So I can either go really tight with it or expand expand it out, and the further to the right I go, the longer it gets. Or press it a second time, and then it's just going to play through the track without looping at all. So the next section I want to show you is the roll feature. So I have green and I have purple. The green is going to do a standard roll. The purple is going to do a triplet, so it's going to shift it and have almost this like this relaxed, laid back kind of feel to it. As I go further to the right, it opens it up and has longer loops. Now what you can see is that the waveform on the top, it will play back what I have playing, but underneath it shows me where that one's going to hit, so I can drop it here and have that bass line come through. My next function that I have is the slicer. So I'm going to turn on slicer, and this gives me locations that I can play back from. So if I want that sound, I'm going to do that one there. I'm going to hold it. And when I release it, it'll play back from where the track would have been had I done nothing. If I want to make that a quicker loop, then I use these buttons here. So I press it down twice, and it speeds it up. Or I can press it on the right and open it up. If I press slicer a second time, it's going to create a loop wherever I engaged it. So now it's just going to keep on playing back that. And of course I can open it up. If I want to have the wheel slow down, I'm going to go up to my stop time and press stop, and that's going to do a little fade out situation. I can pick it back up by doing that kind of thing. The SC5000, the jog wheel, it has this vinyl touch to it. It actually has like little vinyl lines in it so you have a good grip. And the middle is going to show the album artwork from whatever album I've loaded into it, or I can put my own logo onto there as well. That was a pretty step-by-step review of how the buttons on top work. The next video I'm going to show is how the preferences and utilities work.